have to change the volume. That sounds a little low. It doesn't save your sound settings unless you actually save the game, so... things we deal with.
I realized the moment I fell into the fissure that the book would not be destroyed as I had planned. It continued falling into that starry expanse of which I had only a fleeting glimpse. I've tried to speculate where it might have landed, but I must admit that such conjecture is futile. Still, questions about whose hands might one day hold my Myst book are unsettling to me. I know my apprehensions might never be allayed, and so I close, realizing that perhaps the ending has not yet been written.
Hopefully that was loud and clear enough for everybody, and I'm going to apologize ahead of time, a little bit behind time. Frame rate is going to look absolutely horrid. The way this game mangles your video settings to run means that OBS will, at best, pick up 20 frames per second. Maybe 22 on a good moment. I've tried every setting I can possibly find to bump that up, and the best I can do is about 22. And even then it'll fluctuate down to the teens and down to 10 at various points in time. So yeah, sorry about that, but there's not a whole lot I can do about that, but I promise you the game itself actually runs fairly smooth. And I have to look a long way over because of the way this does to see my chat. So yeah, ye olde 3D. So anyway, here we are. We're looking at apparently a night sky and a black void. Same thing, really. And the only thing we can click on here is a book. A book with a funny little picture moving in it. And if we watch the picture long enough, it actually will show something. Looks like an island. A dock on an island, to be exact. So we click. And get used to that sound. So yeah, now that we're here, the frame rate should stabilize up in the 19 to 22 range. So hopefully it'll be a lot less choppy for everyone. And a few confessions. I played this game way back when it first came out, before it was called Real Myst, and when it was just called Myst. And I did beat it. It took a very long time to beat it, because I had not developed the right type of puzzle skills that this game demands. Wherein it doesn't even tell you what the puzzles are. You have to figure out what the puzzles are, and then figure out how to solve them. But all in all, this is a very relaxed game. You will meet a grand total of 3 other people during your adventures here, and only one of them in person, maybe. Go figure. But otherwise, it's a game of exploration. It's a game of just, you know, poking around and seeing what works until you get it right. There are no actual game overs. Yeah, and this is not pre-rendered. This is actual 3D models. Yeah, it's not just painted backgrounds. This is a full 3D set. And instead of slide showing our way around, we actually have free movement to a point. I mean, we can't go out in the water, obviously. But in the old version, you would basically click a direction, and it would kind of take you to a transition to the next screen. And yeah, you guys are probably going to see some flickering. That's going to be annoying. I couldn't cut that out even if I tried. And I did try. A lot. But yeah, the backgrounds are going to flicker on you quite a bit. They don't flicker on the game, it's just the recording. And anyway, before we click on the very obvious door right here, let's actually take a little look around the island, shall we? This is home now, apparently. We have no way back. And the game says there are strafing controls where you can walk, you know, left, right without turning. I couldn't get them to work. Tiana. Apparently a grave for somebody, but I don't know who. And yes, while I did play this way, way back when, I don't remember much. I mean, I kind of remember how to solve the puzzles. Not perfectly. But we have a clock tower here. And one of these little boxes here. Where we can sit here and change the time all we want to. And then hit a button. That does nothing. We'll have to find something later to come back and poke with that. But we got plenty of other buildings here that need to be examined. We've got... I think that's a boiler. Can't really click anything on the boiler. Got a picture of a tree. And we have a wheel. That doesn't do anything right now. So right now this is the island of little fidget toys. Another switch. That doesn't do much. Going underground down here. To some type of generator room. Power to ship, and generator switches 1 through 10. So all of these provide different amounts of power, it looks like. Stay on. Stay off when I tell you to stay off. There we go. We looked in there. We looked in there. Looking down, we got a whole bunch of little switches with like symbols on them of something. Looks like a tick. Snake. An eye. Ostrich, maybe? You can turn these switches on and off. A leaf. An arrow. Another one of these. So up here we have a switch. Doesn't do much. Okay. Yeah, the tick. Very possible. Grab the ladder. And another one of these, as a bird flies by in the background. I don't think we can interact with the bird. I don't think it would help us much if we did. But apparently those cables are connected to a very big... what I would imagine you would come up with in the 1950s or 1960s for a spaceship to fly off to Mars. Also another switch. And here is the library. We will examine that place last, as it has a lot of reading involved. Take the right angle. And here we have a chair. We can turn out the lights. Though we can't see what we're doing when we turn out the lights. So let's click on the chair. January 1st at 12 a.m. Huh. So we are in some type of planetarium, maybe? Or at least a viewer. So if we are in a planetarium... bunch of stars everywhere. Let's see what this looks like with no light behind it. Okay. June 31st, a date that does not exist. Got a lot of years to go through. So yeah, it's a neat another little fidget toy. Hey, maybe if the bird smacks into a window, we can actually eat it this time. Maybe. Ignore the page on the ground for the brief moment here, while it is now nighttime. And no, our messing around in the observatory, or whatever you want to call that, did not change the date. Did not make it later. It just kind of goes through day-night cycles on its own. One of the few things I spent hours trying to find out what it meant, and it meant absolutely nothing. But here we have a tower with very large gears on it. And another little switch. So now that we've kind of explored the island, and I accidentally stepped off of that hill. Should not have done that. Let's take a look at this note, shall we? Yeah, we apparently invented the date. And I'm sorry if it takes me a while to see over there, but you should see the way my setup looks right now. I have a dual monitor setup, and right now, this game forces itself into full screen, which Windows does not handle well. So now what would normally be on my first monitor now extends about 2/3 of the way onto my second monitor and is all black. I have like a little strip that I can keep the OBS and the chat window open in. And that's way over outside of almost my peripheral vision. So I may not notice when people type new things into chat. So anyway, there's a message of utmost importance in the chamber. Enter number of marker switches in the island into the imager to retrieve the message. So, how many switches did we see? Oh, there's one. Two. Three. Four over there. Five. Six on that little thing. Seven right here. I know the real number. What am I missing? 1, 2. Game, stop fighting my movement. 3, 4, 5, 6. I know there are 8. Where's the 8th one? I know there are 8. Two. 4. 5, 6. Okay, I wasn't miss 7, and then 8's over there. Okay. So yeah, somewhere I wasn't counting one of them. So let's go see this messenger, shall we? Now that we know there are 8 switches. Yes, kitty? Oh, that looks like a fairly polygonally sected pool of water. We can turn it on and off. Yeah, button didn't do anything yet. Let's see, what do we got? Topographical extrusion test is at 40. Marker switch diagram is at 47. And water turbulent pool is at 67. Let's see what the others look like. So those are indeed called marker switches. Fair enough. So, a little rocky outcropping. Not all that useful, but okay. So now let's do what the note tells us to do. Grab onto the wall. Come on. So hopefully you guys can hear this.
Catherine, my love, I have to leave quickly. Something terrible has happened. It's hard for me to believe. Most of my books have been destroyed. Catherine is one of our sons. I suspect Agamemnon, but I shouldn't leap to conclusions. I'll find him and Cirrus as well. Oh, I should have known better than to have left my library unchecked for so long. Well, I've removed the remaining undamaged books from the library and placed them in their places of protection. You shouldn't have to use the books until I return, but if you've forgotten the access keys, remember the tower rotation. Oh, and don't worry, Catherine. Everything will be fine. I'll see you shortly. Oh, and erase this message after you've viewed it, just to be safe.
So I think it's fair to say that Catherine never got this message because it still exists. But we can at least do him the favor of erasing it. And I believe the way to erase it is just to hit the button again. Nope.
Catherine, my love, I have to... Catherine, my love, I have to leave quickly. Something terrible has happened. It's hard for me to believe. Most of my books have been destroyed. Catherine is one of our sons. I suspect Agamemnon, but I shouldn't leap to conclusions. I'll find him, Cirrus as well. Oh, I should...
There we go. That should have erased it. Yep, gone now. No more message from him. So with all of that taken care of, and that is to say nothing is actually taken care of. I didn't actually look at this, did I? But we get a half-submerged ship here to match the, well, okay, 75% submerged. To match the very much submerged ship out here. Keep that in mind for later. So we have a library with several important, I don't know, areas to look at. Well, remember the tower rotation, and this is apparently how you rotate the tower. Or so the big words at the bottom tell me. Don't have anything to rotate it to right now, though. We have these, which clicking on there unleashes a area here. So just pushing that does nothing. We've got to close the door first. So over here we have a etching of a book. Absolutely nothing here. Over here, the etching of a key. Anything over here? And just a metal wall. That looked much better originally, I will say that. So this doesn't do much for us. Yet. But we are apparently in the tower, and we can apparently rotate this place around, so... I guess the key is figuring out where to rotate the tower to. Said it's been a very long time since I played this game. Their way out is closed, huh? Fair enough. We can either have that open or have the secret passage open. Those are our two choices. Okay. We have a very roomy fireplace. That didn't do much. But we can do it, and therefore should keep it in mind. We will mess with the mountain of very badly burned books last, because we have 2 more movies to watch right now. Okay, 4 technically, but only 2 are going to count for anything. Not getting good reception on this TV. So not much there. However, there is a red stained page here. And we can do this.
Why? Bring me a red thing. I can't see. Need a red thing. You must. Make a break. I am serious. Give it up. There's one thing I want to rescue.
So that was less than informative. But over here we've got a blue book. I'm sure this one will be much more useful. Or not. And I would adjust the bunny ears, but I don't see the bunny ears. They need a digital antenna. That's what they need. They need something. They need cable. Stop relying on over-the-air signals. Oh yeah, that's getting us nowhere fast. Let's get a little less nowhere. About the same speed.
Yes. Thank you. Are you? See you. Not. Help me. Bring me blue pages. Never, never. Pages. I must have the blue page. Bring them to me.
Well, that wasn't any more informative, other than now we've got people that want both red and blue pages. That's all we know so far. Yeah. Completely trustworthy fellows in those books, I would assume. They don't have any reason to be angry or anything with us yet. We are going to do them a favor and get them more pages, but you know. So let's take a look at some of these books here. After all, the dude did say most of his books had been burned. So. Yep, that is burned. Very badly burned. That too. I mean, I see 5 that kind of stick out amongst the rest. But there is one hidden among the burned books. Yeah, we never heard anything about any sons or anybody doing harm to books yet. We've heard nothing like that so far. I'm sure they're absolutely on the up and up. Oops. But yeah, many burned books. So, we can spend time looking at all these books, and there are only 6 in this entire shelf that are actually worth anything. I believe the 6th one is here, which gives us a bunch of grid patterns. And as we flip through the book, despite the fact that this thing was pretty heavily burned, it's still usable. "300 grid patterns to be precise. So, if you did the exploration and you noticed the fireplace pattern that we poked around with a bit, yeah, you might guess that these numbers correspond to the patterns that you can put in there. However, with 300 of them, it's going to take you a while to just kind of stumble on the right one. But anyway, let's read some books, shall we? This takes a while. I have called this age Channelwood. It is a very different world, though it is exactly how I imagined it. It is still amazing to see it with my own eyes. Water covers this age as far as I can see, except for a small rocky island. Elsewhere there are only trees, which go directly out of the water. A myriad of thin wooden passageways are built just above the water and disappear into the forest. I assume they were built some time ago, for they appear aged. I'm eager to discover more about this land and its people, but I have arrived here late and I must rest. So yeah, we apparently have a journal that gives us some hints about the ages, the books the guy has hidden away. And now he's got a bunch of multicolored ink. We have all that. What about this one? The rocks. Just kind of skimming these for now, because we could read them all right now and spend hours and hours and hours. But I would rather actually just read through the books that actually have relevance to the areas we're going to be visiting soon. Stone Ship Age. Constellations. That's an anchor. Aha! So, we have a key to a puzzle here. Or at least part of it. If you remember the symbols on the outside. Oh yeah, you had to read. You had to read a whole lot. And write. Oh, so many pages of notes. But, you recall we had a room that kind of gave us an idea of... We can put in dates and get star patterns. Well, we have star patterns for each of the little symbols on the posts. So there's a hint. And some of the writing here ended up faded away. Towers and satellite dishes. Here's a rocket ship. Here's a keyboard. Rhyme, I have named it. We won't be running into this anytime soon. But something about that little, that imager controls. This rhyme? Yeah, that was rhyme. That doesn't look familiar. Staircases. But massive gears, so I'm willing to bet this has something to do with the gears in the big gears on the island. All those books are very nice, but they don't really get us any closer to uncovering any new worlds or anything like that. And that is kind of the key to this. Basically, we have to figure out where the other Myst linking books are that he mentioned. And inside each of the worlds that's beyond those are three things that we need to pick up. We've got the red page, the blue page, and the way back to this island so we can explore the other worlds. That's the general gist of everything for now. But I'm going to start by showing off how you're supposed to get the keys to everything that I kind of remember. We have turned on a switch. What these switches do when you turn them on that you would have to find out through much experimentation. Notice we suddenly have this building highlighted right here. It does absolutely nothing for us, and we can hover the line over it, but that really doesn't do anything for us right now. So we've got to find a marker switch that will highlight something that will actually become important. That will actually give us a key we need. So here's this ship here. We turn on that switch. And that's lit up. So we now have a big red line whenever we can rotate the tower to. So let us go ahead, close that. Go in here. And you may have noticed a slightly different path up here. So, this window is pointing us towards the actual rocket ship itself. And up there, the key brings us to something that says 59 volts. So we slide down. Oh yeah, they expected people to have all types of patience with this game. And strangely enough, they did. People had all types of patience with this game. So we need to go poke around back at the generator. Because, as you see from the cable tying it together, the generator powers the ship. So, let's actually look at this drawing again. So what we see here is our left output will read overall power, the right output will lead power to ship, and the generator switches are numbered 1 to 10. However, the generator switches don't output 1 to 10. That would be far too easy. If you look, the first one will output 10. And yes, I'm going to write this down because second one outputs 7. Third one outputs 8. This one outputs 16. This one outputs 5. That one does 1. Stop. That one does 2. This one does 22. This one does 19. And this one does 9. So from this, what you need to do is come up with a number that equals 59. So what happens if you go over? Very easy to do. You can easily go over that mark. Well, notice that this reset to 0. Basically what you've done is you've blown the breakers now. So when that happens, you have to walk outside. And those 2 towers this one first because I see it. Let me up. That's breaker 1. Then we have to reset breaker 2. And then we get to go back in and try it again. So unless you want to do that over and over and over, you stare at your numbers until you can figure out which combination will get you to 59. Let's see. It's been a little while. 10, 26. Think this will work? Now we need 11 more. 59. I believe there are multiple ways to actually get to 59 using those buttons. But now that it is humming along at 59 volts, we should be able to walk over here and open the door. And we can. No good, it's a piano keyboard. Okay, so we have a keyboard. We have a thing with little sliders on it. That didn't do anything. So I'm going to do the rest of this puzzle in, relative silence, but I think you might be able to put two and two together. I hope you can put two and two together as to what we need to do to actually solve the puzzle inside of that machine, inside of that rocket. Which one was it? Was it this one? No. That was Rhyme. I keep picking that one up. That's the gears. Okay, so... for 20th key, third. I mean, I could say that's a B flat, C, D, F, C, and then a D sharp, but, you know. So. See, there's our fifth sound, fifth key. There's our first key. There's our fourth key. There's our second key. And there's our third key. So the low C. Is our first sound. That sounds like a low C. And our second C. Higher C. Next one was just a few steps up of that. Yeah, that sounds about right. That's our fourth one. Oh, it's going okay. It's difficult for me to read chat. Then this one was way down the list. Okay, one of them is off, but I can't tell you which one. So I'm going to do it the weird way. This is how I had to do it originally. Hey, Frostfang. So yeah, counting keys is easier than trying to match tones. But with that done, it opens up a new world. So we now have the path to one of the... And I'll probably forget that, and I'll just probably have to keep calling you Frostfang. This is Myst. With that done, I need to get up for a second. So, yeah, Myst. Be back in just a second. Sorry about that. I just noticed I didn't actually have a clock here, and I had a few other things to take care of. But let's see, Journeyman Project. I have heard of it. I haven't played it myself. I've seen a Let's Play of one of the games. That's about it. But before we go to Strange New World here, I think it would behoove us just a bit to go read up on this Strange New World. Also,